Hi everyone, and welcome to another lovely Monday evening live jam, or in fact as it is this week, our Melodic Monday. So really looking forward to teaching you this lovely piece of music. Tonight we're going to learn a lovely version of Elizabeth Cotton's Freight Train. A really beautiful folk blues song, kind of really in the early days of the blues, which is super nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the basic melody, really simple. You know, just the simple one note at a time stuff. Then we'll look at a really gentle chord melody version. And then what we'll do is we'll start to get really fancy and we'll start to add some extra parts in and make it sound really nice. So in a minute I'll give you a little bit of a preview. We'll go through it in just a second, but let's just say hello to a few people first. Don't forget you can still download the worksheets. They're available via the link in the description and in the comments as well, so you'll find those there. Hello, hi Johnny, hi Leslie, hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's gone proper hot here. Wow, Indrani, 35 degrees tomorrow. That is like crazy hot. It's a bit it's a bit warm here as well. So yeah. Hi Karen, hi Peter. Thanks for the lovely photos, Peter. Peter took some beautiful photos last week for a Ukulele magazine article that we're doing. And it's quite hard to make me look beautiful, but Peter did a good job, so thanks Peter. Melodicize, I will melodicize you, Tim, absolutely. Don't worry, Graham, you can always remember, if you can't play this stuff straight away, as long as you're picking up little bits, little tips here and there, it's absolutely fine. Oh, Leslie said, what are those silly little crowns next to our names? That must be something on YouTube, Leslie, because I have absolutely no idea. Not to blame on that one. Hi John. Good to have you back, mate. Good to have you back. Hope you're doing well. Fantastic. Indrani was just asking, yeah, I've got a new... I don't generally do this, but I got sent a ukulele in the post from a company called Todo or To Do. So it's really cool because it's got this really cool mountain bridge. So I thought I'd just give it a try tonight, basically. So that's all it is, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lovely uke. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I was quite worn out by the end, Peter. Yeah, and hot in California as well. Wow, nice guys, nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at Freight Train. Let me show you a few different ways of playing it now. I'll come in on close cam and then I'll introduce the melody and we'll work on it from there. I should say before I do, just a reminder of a couple of things coming up. Next Wednesday, we're going to do a live lesson on how to strum like Jake Shimabukuro. You know that really lovely fast strumming that he does, which sounds really terrific. This kind of, let me come in close, sort of. I'm gonna show you how to get that speed and kind of texture into your playing, which will be really fun. So that's not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. Thanks, Indrani. Thank you. It really appealed to me with a mountain, I did, because of the outdoor stuff. So yeah. Thanks, Lance. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. So yeah, that's next Wednesday, and then don't forget we'll be back next Monday with another one of our Canacapilla Mondays, which is going to be a whole heap of fun. And what are we doing for that one? I've forgotten now. I'll remember later on, I'm sure, or someone remind me what we're doing for next week's Canacapilla, but it'll be fun, whatever. Okay, right, so I'll come in as close cam and I'll just play through a couple of versions. So the melody is dead simple and I'll teach it you in a minute. We've got... There we go again. what we're going to do is we're going to work out a really beautiful but gentle slow version. Then we're going to really have some fun with some up and down strokes. Might even add a little section. Maybe look at a bit of finger picking. So there's so much we can do with this song. It's really exciting. That's what I love about these really simple melodies that kind of stick in your head, because you can do them as much with them as you want as well. Don't worry, Victoria, we haven't got started yet, so you're it's all good. It's all good. And Shell says he thinks the crowns are some sort of ranking in live chat, so that's good. It means you've been chatting lots, Leslie. So. That's good. It's like a badge of honour or something. So yeah, YouTube are always introducing these things and they forget to tell us creators actually what they're doing half the time. But yeah, that explains it. Okay then, let's take a look then. So I'll bring the sheets on screen. Don't worry that my cover looks different from yours, because I've got an old version of this, but the actual score is exactly the same. What I want to look at first is just this melody down here. Now, don't worry if you can't see it brilliantly at the moment. I'll talk you through it really, really simply and easily as we go. So let's just look at the melody on its own. So what we're going to do, you can think of this tablature as just playing by numbers. You are special, Leslie, by the way. You can think of it as playing by numbers, right? So the first thing we do, where it says just melody, is we're going to play the 3rd fret of the A string. And we're going to take our finger away for an open A. Okay, so that's relatively straightforward, right? Then we go on to the E string and we go 3 to 1, that's G to F. Okay. Then finally an open E on that string. And then back to 3 on the A string and down to 1. Okay, just practice that with me. So we've got 3 off, next string up, 3, 1, off, back to the 1st string, 3, 1. Okay, and that's all based on notes in the F major scale. This one is in the key of F major, this one. It's really, really nice. One of the cool things about F major is it goes up and down. So if you think about the C major scale, don't sweat this if you don't know this. This is just to show you. But the C major scale goes from the lowest note on our uke, C. This is if you're playing in high G. But we can't go below that low note. But the F major scale is brilliant because we can go up the scale and back down it. But we can also go lower. So that F major scale, that's why you get a lot of ukulele arrangements in F. It's really neat because you can go up above the scale and below it, which is really, really nice. And all these notes fit into that. So let's just go through that again. I'm just picking with my thumb, by the way, in terms of the right hand at the moment. So we've got 3 off, that's CA. and then G-F, that's 3-1, off for the open E, and then 3-1 on the A string. Okay. Then we go again. If we have a look at the next bit, next phrase, you see a little gap, then we go again. 3-1 off on the A string. 3rd fret of the E string, 1st fret, and then 3 off on the A string. Okay. Then we go on to the next line down where it says 13. We've got an open A. B flat here, that's the note in the key of F that's different from the key of C. We tend to play a B in the key of C, whereas we've got B flat now. So 1 off, 3-1 on the E string, back to 3, back to 1, and then one more 1-3, open A, 2 F notes, the 1st fret here, up to 3, and back down to 1. There we go. Fantastic. There we go. So let's have a go at playing that through together. Now you can just you can use whichever fingers feel comfortable at the moment. Again, don't worry if you don't get this at the moment. You can always come back to this to work on later. But let's just try playing through that melody. It's relatively straightforward in terms of the rhythm because that opening measure, all the notes are the same length. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one we've got another note the same length, and then a quick note here, this quaver, going straight to that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky in terms of the timing, but you can always sing that freight train in your head as well. Freight train, moving so fast. That's brilliant, Shell. That's absolutely fantastic. It's good to start learning some of these notes. And that's the way you want to do. That's the way you want to do it if you can. You want to try and learn some of these notes by their names as well. So rather than just thinking 3 off 3-1, think C, A, G, F. Okay, it'll take a little while, but you'll get it the more you do it. So let's give it a go. I'm talking too much. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Then a little pause and we go again, next measure. Yeah, good. And then on the A string. One more time with me singing the words over the top. I can't remember them all, but I think I'll get the gist of it. Just so you can see it with the rhythm. 2, 3, 4. Freight train, moving so fast. Freight train, moving so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. Can't remember this last bit. Okay, there we go. So really, really, really nice, beautiful, simple melody in the key of F. The lyrics, freight train, please don't tell them what train I'm on. It's, I believe, I could have this wrong, but I think it comes, it's an ex-slave song. So people would use these songs to pass on kind of routes for people to escape from slavery. And I think that's what this one was about, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm happy to be proven wrong on that. Hi, Robin. Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, let's have a look at the chords. So remember, when we're doing these chord melodies, what we do is we start with the melody, then we look at the chords, and then we piece them together. So the chords, let's have a look at the chords along the top here. All right. Now, you don't have to play the chord shapes that are there, because that's for when we put the chord and the melody together. So just play a basic F, a basic C, and a basic C7. I'll talk you through B flat when we get there. All right, so we've got an F twice to start, freight train, and then a C to C7, moving so fast, And then we go back to C. Freight train, moving so fast. I'll look up the lyrics in a minute because I keep getting it wrong. Then A7 twice. Da, 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 da. B flat. Now you can do it this way, which is my preferred way, or you could do a bar over the top for this B flat. This will be easier when we do it because we don't need to play any note on this A string eventually, so don't panic if it sounds a bit clunky. Remember my tips that I always mention. Try and keep that arm straight, uke at a 45-degree angle, and notice that these fingers are sloping. They're not like that, and instantly you can see that's an uncomfortable angle for my wrist, but by sloping them in that diagonal arrangement, we can reach over the top. I always think try and get 2 down at a time. So if you can get those 2 down and then get one more string by introducing this one and then one more string again and try and keep that wrist straight. That's a B flat. That's the 4 chord in the key. See? Da, da, da. Back to F, 1 chord. Da, da. C7 for that tension and then back to F. There we go. Have a little practice of that for a second, just whilst I look up the lyrics on my phone. I should have done this beforehand, really. I thought I knew it off by heart, but it turns out I don't. So it's only a short song, but I just cannot remember the words for some reason. But let me just look those up whilst you guys have a little practice of that, guys, just whilst I do it. Freight train. This is where Google comes in, right? How do we ever live without it? We had to go to libraries, I guess. Then they won't know what route I'm going on, which makes sense. That makes sense with the slave thing, doesn't it? Okay, let's try it with the lyrics then. We're just going to do simple down strums on each one of these chords. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Then that A7. Please don't tell B flat what train I'm on. They won't know what route I'm going. Let's try strumming that. You could just strum up and down. 2, 3, 4. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times here I crave. Place the stones at my head and feet. Tell them all I've gone to sleep. Okay, right. Let's start putting that together then. Let me know how you got on with that, guys. Hopefully it's all making sense so far. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the chords, sorry, just tune up, chords and the lyrics together. It's so hot in this room. My ukulele is going out of tune. I don't know if you have that where you are. When the heat hits, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, cool. Let's try seeing if we can put it together then. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the chords and the melody together at the same time. And what I hope is that by showing you this, you can start doing your own arrangements because you'll see how it works, and hopefully you'll enjoy just seeing the mechanics of it. I think it's really cool because it's really simple once you get a grasp of it, how chord melody works. It's not as technical as it looks. The brilliant thing is it makes your uke sound like you've got 2 ukuleles playing at the same time, one playing the melody and one playing the chords, which is always cool, right? I love that. So basically there's a couple of rules in terms of playing chord melody. And the first is that if the melody note isn't in the chord, we have to add it. So remember that first melody note was this 3rd fret of the A string, this C. Right? So what we need to do is we need to add this high C to the F chord so that we hear it, right? That's the first thing first. And then we strum as far as the melody note is. So in this case, the melody note is on that A string. So we're actually going to strum all the way. Notice you get the sound of an F chord, but you also get the sound of this note. And because it's the last thing our ears hear, it stands out, right? Phrase. Then we're not going to put a chord on the next note because we want it to sound slightly different. We're just going to take that finger away and hit the open A string. So that gives you freight train. Now sometimes the melody note doesn't fall on the A string at all, and that's the case here. The next one falls on the E string, the next string up towards your nose. So what we do is we're going to add either this little finger or your ring finger to the 3rd fret of the E string. Now here's the second rule of chord melody. Whichever string the melody note was on, and if you think about it, this melody note was on this string, wasn't it? Because it went like this. So that note is there on the E string. So what we do is we put our chord down again, an F chord. We've added our note, which is this melody note here, the 3rd fret of the E string, and we strum down as far as the E string, but we don't strum the one below it. We stop our thumb. I like to really dig in like this. Because what happens is you really hear this note, this G note ringing through. And that's a melody note. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's better. And then we can take it away and you get that F note that follows it. So we've got this. See how the melody and the chords are coming out at the same time. It's really pretty, but really, really simple. Let's do it together. Come in with me after 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finger off. Put it here. Finger off. Okay. Now the next chord is a C chord, which is here. The melody at that moment was this open E string, wasn't it? That's the next bit. Dum, dum, dum. So we put down our C chord, but because the melody note's on this E string, we only strum that far. It's quite helpful to have your finger ready on the next note because the next note is this 3, this C note. And then we go to a C7. And the beautiful thing about that C7, the reason it's played is that the melody note is automatically in it and it's the last one we hear. So we get this. And again, you hear that melody coming through, right? Run so fast. So if we put that all together, the first 2 measures, it'll sound like this. Freight train, run so fast. Okay. Then we keep that principle going. So the next measure, we've got a C chord. Well, that's nice and easy. The melody note's on the A string again, so we can strum all the way. Freight, down to 1, train. Then we're going to strum open because the melody note is this open A. Freight, 3rd fret and the next string. Train. Okay, I'll put all that together and show you. Okay, let's do that together. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now the next bit is kind of similar to the second measure, but we're on an F chord now. So we hold this F chord down and we only strum the top 3. Like that. Little finger comes down here for this high C note. And then we take it away. Okay. So that's just the top 3 of an F. Little finger down, take it away and strum. Okay. Let's try putting the whole of those first 4 measures together really slowly. Okay, I'm going to take this really slow. 2, 3, 4. Up to the C chord. Down to 1, off, 3rd fret of the next string, F chord but just strum top 3, little finger down and strum all the way. Really nice, right? Then we go to the next measure where we go to that A7. That's quite an unusual chord to come up there because it's the 3 chord being played as a dominant 7. That just means you would expect it to be an A minor there. Don't sweat the theory if you're not interested, but the 3 chord in any key is normally a minor chord. So you'd have F major, G minor, A minor as the first 3 chords in the key of F. But quite often the 3 chord is turned into a dominant 7th, so just an A7 rather than an A minor. And that gives it a real bluesy feel. So quite an unusual chord choice, but it does happen in modern music. So we get this A7. Da, okay. When I say modern music, by the way, I'm talking old-fashioned modern music. So 20th century music is what I mean, as opposed to classical. So yeah, my modern is like 1920 or something, right? Okay. So we hold this A7 down. And because the melody note is on the A string, we strum all the way. Okay, that's the please. We add this finger here to this B flat. Don't. And then we take it away and strum again. So, 3rd fret of the E string for this G note. What? Okay, so that will sound like this. Please don't so what? Okay. So a bit of a longer note there, a dotted crotchet if you're reading the music. Don't worry if you're not. But 1, 2, and 3, 4. That's the way to think about it. I'll do that again. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Fantastic. Now here's where the good news is, right? You know how that B flat is really awkward to do when you strum all the way, because you've either got to do like a bar on it like this, or you've got to hold those two, which is still really difficult as well, not to get any fluffs on it. Well, the brilliant thing here is that the melody note is this F note here. So when we hold down the B flat, you don't need to do this at all. You can just hold 3, 2, 1 down like this, and just strum with your thumb the top 3 strings. Add your little finger here to the 3rd fret, strum to it. Or actually just pick that, sorry. So we get pick that string, strum to 3, 2, 1 again. And then we've got 1, 3. You can keep these fingers where they are, or you can take them off. Okay. So that last measure of the first line will look like this. Let's try it from the A7. Okay, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and oh, sorry, I hit the wrong one. Sorry, guys. I'll do that again. See, even teachers go wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. B flat. 1, 3. And then to finish off, we've just got measure 7, start of the 2nd line, an F chord all the way. Just hit the F note. Then we've got an unusual one. We've got this shape here for a C7, 3rd fret of the G string, 1st fret of the E string, and we're only going to strum the top 3. Then we're going to hit this note here with our little finger, this 3rd fret, and back to an F. The reason why we've got that C7, if you're interested, it's kind of interesting, right? Remember our golden rules of chord melody, that we only want to strum to wherever the melody note is, because we want it to be the last thing our ear hears, right? So when we strum down this C7, if I held a C7 and I added this, hi AKC, hope you're doing well. If we added this note here, then we wouldn't hear this note here in the C7, which is a B flat, this one here. And that note's really important, because if you think about it, what's the difference between a C and a C7? It's this note. C, C7. See what I mean, right? So if we only strum down like this, it wouldn't sound like a C7 chord. The cool thing is though, every note on your A string on your uke, try and remember this if you don't know it already, is repeated 2 frets along on the G string. Exactly the same note, right? B flat, B flat. So that's why we're doing this unusual C7 shape like this, because we still have the B flat note and we still have this melody note, this F note here, and then we resolve it. Isn't that lovely? Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let's try this first arrangement from the top then. We're going to go really, really slowly. Just take your time with it. If you've already got it and you find it easy peasy lemon squeezy, you can just pause or mute me for a second and have a go fast. But I'll go really, really slowly, and then I'll start to explain the difference between this and the second arrangement, which is where things start to get like really exciting. Although this is kind of exciting already, right? I'm just going to tune up again. I'm just going to check it a second. There we go. I can't even imagine 35 degrees in Germany. That's just like mad. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit for you American peeps, but I'm guessing you've got it hot there as well. Okay, right. So let's try the whole of these first line and a half up to where it says just melody. Let's try and piece it all together. I'll come in on close cam for you. Okay, so remember we're going to start with this finger down on the 3rd fret whilst we play an F chord. So get your fingers ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take it off. Add it to the 3rd fret. Take it off. Top 3 open. 3rd fret up down the bottom and a C7. Then I'm going to strum a whole C chord down to this B flat note here, whole open chord, G note here, 3rd fret, an F chord, just the top 3. Add this little finger for the high C note and take it away and strum. Beautiful. Now the A7 part, A7 all the way, little finger on 1 and off. 3rd fret of this E string, and then your B flat chord here, just the top 3. Add this finger here for the G note and off, and then 1 3 on that E string, F chord all the way, F note here, and then we're going to do the funny C7 right, 3 0 1, little finger down, and then F top 3. Okay. Let's try that slowly without me gabbing on over the top so you can hear how pretty it sounds. Okay, so I'll come in on close cam. So if you're not quite ready for this, just enjoy how it sounds for now. But if you do feel ready, strum along with me. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that lovely? Let me know how you got on with that, guys. I'd really like to know how you're getting on. Put it in the comments. If you've got any questions, big or small, let me know. By the way, this is apple juice, not cider, I promise. Although I'm in West Country, so maybe it should be cider. Try and stay hydrated, it's so hot. Okay. So let's have a look at playing it slightly different again now. We're going to have a look at hitting the offbeat chords, which should be really, really nice. Now that will have a kind of a different feel and sound to the piece. So depending on whether you play the on-beats or the off-beats in terms of chords, it will change the feel of the piece completely. Some songs sound better played on the on-beats. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Some songs sound better played on the off-beats. That's the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. And if I play exactly the same thing I'll put chords on the on beat, just like we just did, and then I'll play exactly the same thing at exactly the same tempo, and I'll put chords on the off beat, and you'll notice that it has more drive and groove. I'll show you what I mean. So I'll just play you what we just did a bit faster, and then I'll add chords on the off beat so you can hear the difference, okay? Now with the offbeat. Okay. Now notice it feels completely different, doesn't it, when I hit those chords on the offbeat? And it provides a kind of drive and rhythm, because you have this constant boom, 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 which is really, really exciting, right? It just sounds really fantastic. It's why whenever you see jazz bands, or sometimes pop bands as well, the drummers get really annoyed when people clap on 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because even though you think it'd be the same thing, if you clap on 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It gives the piece like more of a driving rhythm, which is really interesting. So notice here, we're putting chords on the ands between the melody notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? And that's what gives it that driving feel. Now there's a little bit of technique behind this. So I'm going to come in on close cam and I'm going to show you how we do it. The first thing you want to do, I think, in terms of this, oh, don't worry, Indrani, lost the plot on the B flat, but that's all right. That's not bad, actually, especially if you could come back again. No worries, Karen. I hope the appointment goes well for you. I hope it's all good and not too painful. Okay, right. So let's have a look at what I mean by that. So first thing I want you to do is just practice playing a chord on the offbeat. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down an F chord, just bog standard F chord, and I want you to strum down on the ands between the numbers. We'll start slow and then speed up. I'll show you what I mean. It's easier to show you rather than explain it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So rather than 1 and 2, now we're strumming in between the numbers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Join in me. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, yeah, fantastic. Should we try that all the way through, just those offbeat strums, so you can see how it works? What we'll do, we'll use the chords up the top here, because then I won't have to change the page halfway through. We'll use these chords, but we'll strum those offbeats. I'll show you what I mean. Perhaps if you watch me do it through once and then you guys join in, or if you get what's happening straight away, you guys join in then. Okay, it will look and sound like this. Freight train, moving so fast. Freight train, moving so fast. That it might be easier if I say the numbers actually. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, quite tricky. It's harder than it looks, isn't it? It's much harder than it looks, because everything about that's like maximum syncopation. Syncopation is where you play off the beat. And it's like maximum syncopation because we're playing exactly as far away from the beat as you can get it. And everything wants to draw you in towards that beat. That's what makes it tricky. Notice that I like to use my hand as a metronome. So even though I'm only strumming every other beat, notice my hand still comes up and down because I find it keeps me in time. If I just do this, I find it a lot harder to keep time. So perhaps have a go at that. We'll do that one more time, guys. Just get the lyrics up again. So here we go. All right. So join in with me. Just follow the chords along the top. All right. Just bog standard chords. You don't have to do the ones in the boxes. And strum with me. Come in after 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 fantastic. Okay, now it's tricky, and Indrana's right. I bet she's not the only one. It's tricky to do right because our brains want to draw towards that on beat. So what can we do to help with that? Well, the brilliant thing is what we can do is we can make something positive happen on the numbers and then it's easier. So in some ways it's actually easier when we put the melody back in. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'm looking down here where it says offbeat, just so you can see on the screen. But because I hit a note first, it's actually easier than just going, because the notes are perfectly in between. And there's a bit of technique to this as well. What you do is you hold whichever note down it is. Notice the first one's a 3, isn't it? This C here. Have your F chord ready and you pick up. I like to use my index finger. You pick up with your index, or it could be any of the fingers, but I like my index. And then you strum down. Now, if you look really closely, if we're really a pedant, it looks like you're only hitting 3 of the strings. Can you see that 2, 0, 1? There's no note on the A string. But really when people do this, including, there's a version like this in James Hill's Brilliant Duets for One book. Really, it doesn't mean that you have to stop after the 3rd string down. It just means you're lightly kind of aiming towards the top lot of strings. So what I'm saying is if you accidentally hit the A string, that's absolutely fine because it's just kind of completing a chord basically. So in effect, what you're doing is picking up, strumming down. And you want to keep that strum on the way down really light with your nails. I'm strumming with all 3 nails over here. You don't have to have long nails like mine, they can just be normal, and you're just going to pick up, strum down. And then what we do on the next one is we take away this finger, we pick up on the open A string, strum down. Then we put our finger here, 3rd note of the E string for the G note, strum down. You can take away your finger or you can keep it there whilst you strum. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. And then finally we've got this note here, but keep your F chord down. Okay, if you put that together you get this. Isn't that really effective? Freight train, freight train. And we're strumming off beat and it sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, when I say these things, I really do mean them. And a lot of people say, oh, yeah, we'll do it. But they don't do it. And it's really important you do. Practice it slow, but really in time. And then gradually speed up. Because if you go too fast and you have gaps, it sounds terrible because you're not keeping that constant rhythm. We want that up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So So it's better to play it really slow and in time like this. And then the next day you practice it a little bit faster. The next day a bit faster. And you'd be surprised, the more you practice it, the muscle memory kicks in, and you'll be able to do it a lot easier than it looks. The main thing to do on this, and this is really, really key advice for tonight, for this particular way of making a chord melody. The main thing to do is to concentrate on the melody notes. And then think of the rest of it as just strumming down. And as long as you keep the chord shape an F, it's not too bad, right? If I slow that down, note, strum, note, strum, note, strum, note, strum. All right, nice, right? Now let's have a look at the next bit. This time we're going to go to a type of C chord. So we're going to hold a C chord down with our fretting hand, our left hand, like so. And we're going to keep the same thing going. So we're still going to go da, da, da. We're still going to keep that down strum going, right? Yeah, totally enjoying it. It's interesting, isn't it? It's like when we do the reggae strum that I taught you guys. You know that? It's easier if you're doing something positive on the beats than nothing at all. Definitely. So yeah, you will get it, I promise. Just take it slow. So what we're doing then is we're going to strum down, but this time we're on a C chord. So we're going to pick up on this E string, that's the first note, and strum down, okay? Then we're going to pick up on this note here, this C string. Now the only thing that's awkward on this measure is we need to strum down slightly early so we get this C7 chord. It'll sound like this. So the way you count it is 1 and 2 and. You're going to strum down that C7 on the and after 2. 1 and 2 and. Come in with me after 4. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, one more time. 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then notice we've got 2 more down strums after that. We just keep those offbeat going then. Nice and far apart. I'll put that all together. Okay, don't be tempted to snatch at those last 2. Okay, what I'll do is I'll put those first 2 measures together from where it says offbeat, and you'll hear how it sounds. I'll come in a bit closer actually so you can see. Let's change to C shape. Okay. Try that with me after 3 and 4 and. I'll slow it down a little bit. 3 and 4 and. Next bit I think is actually easier because we're back to our note, strum, note, strum. We do 3 on the A string and strum down. 1. Off. 3 on the E string. Now notice that the chord after that note there, that G note, the 3 on the E string, is 3 open notes. But you can keep this there as well. Whichever you find easiest. So that measure 19 will sound like this. Okay, let's give that a go. 2 and 3 and 4 and 3, strum 1, strum off, strum 3, strum. And then this next one's similar to measure 18, but on an F chord now. We pick up on this E string, third string down, we strum. We pick up with our finger on the third fret here, and then we strum down straight afterwards. Okay, so that will sound like this. That's because the beat at that point is the melody is syncopated there, so it's not on the exact beat that it was at the start of the song, which is why it's kind of interesting, right? It's why it makes it difficult to do, because your brain wants to standardize everything. But it's also what makes it sound fantastic, because when you speed it up, you hear the straight chords, right? Like this. And then you hear this melody, it feels free of those chords. See how it sounds like two instruments, and that's, our ears love that. It's one of my favourite tricks to do on ukulele. If you see players like James Hill's really good at this, he can do it really, really fast. Aaron Kime, Jake Shimabukuro will be able to do this, no problem at all. They quite often use this technique basically where we're doing these chords and melody, but with the chords on the offbeat. Okay, right, let's just see how you guys are getting on. Oh, no worries, Victoria. We shall see you again soon, hopefully. You take care. You take care. Okay, let's have a look. So where did that bring us down to? I forget where I got to. It was that F on that line there, wasn't it? Next down. Let's see if we can piece it all together then, from here down to that F on the next line down. Okay, let's try it really, really slowly. Okay, so come in after 3 and 4 and. 3 and 4 and off. Next string 3 and 1. Take your fingers off. 3, 1, 3, 1, off. 3 on the next string. 1 F chord. Yeah, fantastic. Then we've got another bit of syncopation on this next bit where we go to the A7s. Again, the melody isn't it's weaving and winding its way around, so it makes it a little bit trickier, but it sounds ace when you get it. So we're actually going to pick up on this open A string on the first beat, and then we're going to strum down, but we're not going to pick a note on the next one. We're going to wait for it a second. We're going to put our finger down here because that's a melody note. And then we're back to our strum pick. We go off, strum, 3 and strum. Okay, it's one of those ones that you have to hear. Let me go through that slowly. Pause. Do that even slower. Now, to my mind, that's the hardest part of the whole song, particularly when you play it fast, because you're kind of breaking your normal strum there to make sure that we get the chords and the melody in the right place. Let's try it together though. Let's give it a go, all right? So get your A7 down. 3 and 4 and up, strum. Then come on the down strum with this next one. Up, off, strum down, 3, strum down. Okay, 3 and 4 and. Fantastic. All right, now don't worry if you haven't got that straight away. That's really hard. Honestly, it took me ages to get my brain around that, particularly when you're playing it at tempo, but it does come, I absolutely promise. Let's have a look at this last bit then. So we're not doing this very last bit yet, just the first 3 measures of this second page. And it's relatively easy, this bit, because we're back to that very strict rhythm, which is really nice. There's not much syncopation here, so it makes it a little bit easier to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down that B flat chord. Remember, you don't have to flatten because we're only playing notes on the top 3 strings that look like this. And then it's just a matter of putting your finger down on and off the 3rd fret of the E string, okay? And it will look like this. I'm going to pick up, strum, put my finger down on 3, strum, take it off, and then put it down on that last half beat. It will look like this. Notice it's coming down on that last half beat. You can think of it like this. 1, 3, 1, 1, 3. Okay. Then we just go back to our normal F chord. We pick the A string, strum down, E string, strum down, another E string, and then this time, this isn't totally crucial, but if you can move your finger over to the 3rd fret of the G string like this. Here. It kind of suggests the C7 chord. To be honest, when you play it fast, if you just stay on the F, it still sounds fine, all right? The important thing is on the very last chord that we go to this shape. Okay, 3, 0, 3. I like to keep my finger there because then when I go back to the next measure, okay, I hit it like that. That'll look like this from the F to the C7. And on that last measure, just very slowly let those Fs come down. Let me take it from measure 22 on close cam to the end of that bit and we'll give it a go. All right, so here we go. B flat shape down. 3 and 4 and. Notice there's only one melody note on that last one. That's it, basically. You got it right. So if, again, take time. You can always go a little bit faster each day of this. Make sure you've got it under your fingers. This is the crucial thing. Again, I'm going to repeat it because it's so important. So many students try and go too fast and then they build up anxiety because they get to the same bit that they struggle with each time. And every time you fumble it and get it wrong, you build up tension in your body, which is really not good for your playing because it stresses you out and it means you're more likely to go wrong again next time. So it's better to go painfully slowly. So slowly it sounds really awful, right? And I do it. Go painfully slowly and then just very gradually up the tempo, and you'll find you can do stuff that you never thought you'd ever be able to do. So like when I do that crazy fast version, right, something like this. I'm not practicing it that fast. When I first learned it, I was practicing it like this. So don't try and go too fast until you're ready, and then you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to do it way better than you ever imagined. I absolutely promise. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that all together now. We're going to go from where it says offbeat there. We're going to play this F chord. We might have to pause slightly when we get here, but we're going to be playing it slowly anyway, just so that if anyone's following it on screen, I can do the flip and we go to the next page, and then we'll do these next 3 measures here. Okay. Let's try it then. Again, we're going to do this painfully slowly. I make no apologies, all right? Really nice and slow. See if you can follow it through with me. I come in really close cam this time. I come in as close as I can with this hand, okay? Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. next line. Back to F. Then the A7, pick up and down. That's where I normally go wrong, so don't worry if you did as well. Just going to change the page quickly. Back to this B flat shape. 3, 1, 1, 3. Back to open F. Funny C7. And back to F. Yeah, really well done, guys. Really well done. Let me show you what that sounds like at tempo, just so you can see it and hear it. I'll get rid of this for a sec so you can really see what I'm doing. So at tempo, notice the consistency in my arm. That's the key thing. You'll notice this arm, it never changes tempo. It never changes the rhythm. It's just always coming down, right? Should we try it one more time? And then I'll show you something even cooler. I'll tell you a really neat thing that you can do to make it sound really nice. Sorry, guys. Just quickly tune up. Tune up as well if you're somewhere hot, because you'll probably find... I tend to find my ukes tend to go a bit sharp when it's really hot, because the wood expands and it makes the strings more tense, adds more tension. Okay, right. Let's try that one more time and then I'll show you a couple of ways how you can put that all together. So, up close, let's bring the binder on in case anyone's following along on screen at home. So again, we're going to go from this bit. Okay, I'll go a little bit faster than I did last time. Don't worry if I lose anyone, you can always come back to this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and C7, 3, 1, off, 3, F chord, 3, I'm just strumming it. The hardest bit now, A7, down, pause, I'm so sorry, there we go, back to B flat, 3, 1, 1, 3, off, 1, 1, 3, back to 1, and we just keep strumming. Yeah, beautiful, right? Okay, now I'm going to show you a little bit of extra, some really kind of fancy pants stuff if you'd like to do it with this. But already we've got a really nice arrangement there, which is really pretty. One of my favourite things to do, you can either think of this two ways. You can either think of them as two separate arrangements, or you can do something different on each verse. I think I've mentioned this before. I think it was a Kimo Hussey who I saw teaching, and he once said, if you ever play a piece through and you repeat a verse, try and make that verse a little bit different each time, because it makes it more interesting, right? So the way I like to play it is I do just the melody first. So I'll actually do this bit first where it says just melody. Then I'll do the on beat, and then I'll do the off beat, and you get this whole arrangement. I'll show you. I'll come in and close. So here we go. Just the melody first. This is like a warm-up, right? And it gets your audience, gets them to know the song. Then you might play it with the on-beat chords. Then I'm going to go offbeat. Ready? How cool is that, right? You've got a much longer arrangement now. You've got almost 3 verses, or in fact, in the old days they would have called that 3 choruses, because in traditional blues like this, you would this is 8 measures, 8-bar blues. This is often called, and much folk music was 8-bar blues as opposed to the standard 12 bars that most people know. So they would call each of those 8 bars a chorus. So that's like 3 choruses in effect. And it means that every time you do it, you're doing something different, right? Which is absolutely fantastic. Sounds really nice. Now, 2 extra things we're going to do to finish off. The first is we're going to go totally nuts, and I'm going to add an extra note. So if you imagine your uke has gone from sounding like 1 uke to 2 ukes, and then 2 ukes playing with a syncopated rhythm. Well, what we're going to do next is we're going to make it sound like there's 3 ukes. We're going to put an extra bit in effect, which sounds really, really nice. And we're going to replicate the bum ditty from clawhammer ukulele, but we're going to play it slightly different. We're going to play it with an up pick. It sounds really lovely. It will sound like this. I'll play it fast and then slow so you can hear it. Let me just get myself comfortable. Yeah, here we go. Now dead slow so you can kind of see what's happening, and then I'll explain it. Hang on, I've forgotten it. I need to look at the sheet music. Sorry, I'll do that again. See what's happening there? Okay. What I'm doing is I'm adding a bum ditty. So as I come up and strum down, instead of just strumming down, I'm also going to tap my thumb against the G string and take it away. So the first bit will sound like this. Remember your little finger on this 3. Strum down, and then just touch with the thumb. All right, like this. Practice that a few times round. Bum, ditty, bum, ditty. The key is really to have this thumb up here as you pick, so it can just come out. If it collapses like this, you've got to make way more movement, you see, whereas if you keep it up like you're hitching a lift. So that's really simple process, but it takes a bit to get your head around, because you're doing it's like instead of doing 2 things at once, which is hard enough, now we're doing 3 things at once. Do it one more time. So bum ditty, bum ditty, bum ditty. Okay. And what we do is when we've got this bit where we're doing like the introduction where we've got note, chord, note, chord, note, chord, we're going to add the ditty after each of the down strums. Okay, so instead of up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, now we've got up, down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, thumb. Make sense? Let's try that together. 3 and 4 and... Whoops. See, I hit a wrong string when I picked up there, so it does happen sometimes if you're not paying attention, but that's basically it. Now, as with all these things, again, when you see like Aaron Kime or James Hill do these things, you think, oh, I'll never be able to get that. But just know that they've gone through exactly what you've gone through. They've practiced this like painfully slow and then just upped it a little bit each time. Okay, so what you would do, again, is practice that the first day like this. Sorry, I'll do that again. Sorry, guys. About that first. And again, the next day. Notice how subtle those thumb picks are. It's just a tiny change in the rhythm. And then the next day. And see if you can get it crazy fast. You can have loads of fun with it, basically, and that's the thing to do, is just to make sure you're coming down just a little bit faster each day. Leslie was just saying she automatically picks using her ring finger. That's absolutely fine, Leslie. That's not a problem at all. So if you find, like Leslie, I keep that coming up on top actually so you can see it. If you find, like Leslie, that you find it easier to pick up with this finger, like that, as opposed to this one. So that's absolutely fine. The key thing is really having that thumb ready to come out. Okay, so it's absolutely fine, Leslie, is basically what I'm saying. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know, Johnny, it's tricky, right? Because you're doing like you're adding an extra thing into something that's already complicated, basically. But what you would do is, if you want to have a go at this, you would put, hi Andre, you would basically put this on the bits that aren't syncopated. So the bits wherever it sounds like note, chord, note, chord, note, chord, note, chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you would add the thumb. Bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty bum ditty. Where it gets a bit more difficult, like measure 18, the next line, I won't put this in. I'll just take a rest for a minute, because that's already syncopated, right? And then I'll start putting it in again on measure 19. It'll sound like this. Bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty. Then back to normal. And slow it sounds a little bit weird, but when I speed it up, have a listen. Bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty. Bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty, bum, ditty. Okay, so that's just something, if you wanted to, you could introduce like another layer of sophistication. It's like a bit mind-blowing, right? But just think of that as something, if you can't do it, to aim towards, and it'll sound really sweet. Now, one last thing to finish off. The only problem with 8-bar blues is it's okay if you're singing with it, because every time you sing another chorus, or like another verse we would call it nowadays, you are getting new lyrics, so it keeps people interested, right? You've got the story. So when Elizabeth Cotton sings, first of all, it's about don't tell them what train it's on. Then it's when I'm dead and in my grave, I won't have to care anymore. And then it's bury me deep down at the end of Chestnut Street. So you're developing this story, rather depressing story, but an important one in terms of American history, right? But you're developing a story. Whereas if when you're playing this solo ukulele, if you just play those 8 measures again and again, it kind of will sound a little bit boring, even if you start mixing it up. So what I've done, and this is a bit maverick, you don't have to look at this, but what I've done on the second page, from measure 25 onwards, I'll bring this on so you can see it. Measure 25 onwards, there it is. Oh, no, there it is. So from this thick line up here where it says extra section, is I've basically just gone to the 5 chord. That just means a C chord, because we're in the key of F, F, G, A, B flat, C. I've gone to a C chord and I've just added a new bit of melody to it. And basically you can do this yourself. We're just going to do chords based on C or C7. Da, 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 da. And then I go back to the one chord, F. And I do it again. And at the end I do an A7 because it just brings us back to the next bit. And it's kind of cool, right? Because it just gives you something different. So the way I've got it, I'll just play it for you first. It kind of gives like a middle eight, if you like. That's what the Beatles would often refer to as other people would call it a bridge. It just gives it something different. And I could have hit any of the notes from, as long as the melody notes fit in the key of F. So remember, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F again. As long as those notes fit in, I could play any of those notes. Have a listen. Could even go up here. So you could go a bit mad and do a little bit of improvisation there just based on those chords. If you want to do the exact ones I've done, I'm going from 1 to 3 to 5 and back again. And then I just noodle around on 5 and 3. And then I'll repeat 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, and off. Then that A7 takes you to the top. Sometimes I'll add, you'll notice I'll add little kind of hammer-ons and stuff. Just to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. But you can do anything there. I could go. As long as it belongs in F and you end on A7. Brings you back to... Okay, your original arrangement, which is super, super nice. So that's something to have a play around with. I know I rushed that last bit, but I'm just aware that I've been talking for a lot and you've probably all got sore fingers and sore brains. So I'll pause there, just see if there's any questions. And then what I'll do is I'll show you how you could how that sounds when you add it as a full arrangement. I'll play it kind of quickly and you'll see each part that I'm doing, which is nice. So Tommy Emmanuel said you should learn this song first on guitar. Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's a great song to play on guitar. Yeah. That would sound really nice. I think I play it in the key of C on guitar when I've done it in the past, but yeah. And it's such a, it's such an important part of American history as well. So it's really cool. And American history is our history, right? Because of course it came back to, even if you're from Britain or Europe, it came back, didn't it, in the late 50s, early 60s with R&B, which was really cool. And then we sent it back over to Beatles, right? So it's fun. And Leslie's just asking, where would you use that extra section? To be honest, wherever you want, Leslie, because we just got the bits in the key of F are just repeated over and over. So you can do them in any order, whenever you want. Whenever it feels right, just drop that new section in there. And you could do it twice, once, make it your own, basically. But I'll give you an example, because it might be quite cool for you to just see how I do it when I do it live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just the melody. Then I'm going to do the slow version, and then I'm just going to build it up a little bit with my extra bits. So you'll see what I mean as I do it. Okay, so this is kind of how I would do it live nowadays. So I don't. to do the first version. I like to take this slow. Because when I do the next bit, it has more impact. Now the bum ditties. Now new section. Maybe slow down at the end. And see how it's kind of taking you on a journey, right? And this is what I'd love you guys to start kind of just absorbing and bringing kind of a little bit of that interest into your playing. So you're not always playing something, you know, the same way every time. And it's really important because so many of these pieces of music and a lot of my students have done the James Hill books, and I think actually are one of the most powerful and brilliant ways to play ukulele. I think they're superb. But you'll notice that a lot of the arrangements are only like 8 to 16 measures, and the same with a lot of this old blues stuff. So if you want to kind of make it more of an arrangement, more going on, think about adding little bits, one bit at a time. So you might just play the melody, then on the beat, then off the beat, then faster, maybe with a bit of claw hammer, and then you take it back again and take people on a journey. And it's a really, really nice thing to do. I think I need to put this back in my live set, actually. I really like this, so I might stick it back in my one as well. So yeah, no worries, Leslie. Yeah, and absolutely, it does. It kind of impresses your friends, you know. It's that classic thing. I think the only thing about ukulele that's a negative right nowadays is that you can play the most beautiful, like classical ukulele, really fast, crazy stuff, all sorts. And then everyone's like, when I'm cleaning windows, they all want you to play a bit of George Formby or something. A lot of people think of it as a novelty thing. So if you've got one or two pieces like this where you can do that whole, well, actually, did you know the ukulele could do this? It's really powerful, and it's really lovely to share with friends and family, and that it's kind of great. Andre, yeah, absolutely. That technique I was doing was based on claw hammer. When I play claw hammer, personally speaking, I don't play traditional claw hammer. I play, it's often called Pete Seeger style claw hammer. He likes to pick on the up strums. So basically what I'm doing is where most claw hammer people would come in towards the uke and hit melody note like this, which sounds cool, and it can sound really cool and aggressive. But it can, to my ears, sometimes it can be a bit much. So rather than that down pick on your bum ditty, bum ditty, bum ditty, bum ditty, I'll often just up pick it. And it's a bit more relaxed. It's like a little bit more, it's not so intense, basically, which is really, really nice. And then if you want to go a next stage and like add even more to it, what you do is instead of just picking, can even add a fourth. If you think we've got one uke going, and two ukes because we've got, and three ukes because we've got, you can add a fourth uke by adding a hammer on. Isn't that cool? So you get four things happening at the same time, which is a really nice technique. But that's for another day, because that's it kind of hurts my brain to explain that. I can do it, but we'll do it another day when I'm not so tired, and I'll show you how to do that as well. But yeah, it's a type of claw hammer, but kind of Pete Seeger style. That's what he used to do on a banjo. Basically, he'd pick up and then frail down, whereas most players would come in and hit the strings like that. So yeah. Yeah, totally, Robin. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Everyone just does that first bit, don't they, for Elise, and it's like, what about the rest of it? So yeah. I had a really embarrassing moment with Elise where I was on stage once, and I said, I don't know what the English translation of Elise is, and everyone was like, for Elise. Don't. But yeah, if it just plays that first section. What you could do, I'm not big into showing off on uke, right? But what you can do, which is totally crazy, right, is you can challenge yourself. How fast can I go? So you might start and then see if you can go crazy with that. Something like that, which is like, oh my gosh, I can only do that because I practice it for like ages and ages and ages, so it takes a while. Picking pattern, I can't really do a picking pattern on this one, Johnny, because it's a little bit all over. When I was doing that bit at the end, that kind of, what was that then? It's not quite a pattern because I'm moving my fingers differently on every chord to get the melody notes. So maybe we'll do that one another time. We'll have a look at that. So yeah. So yeah, we shall take a look at that when we've got a little bit more time. But let me know how you got on with that, guys. I'll just stay around for a couple more minutes just in case there's any questions on that. For Elisa. Okay, for Elisa. I'm not very good at German, Intrani. So, I'm chuffed that I know the German for rubber gloves, which apparently is Gummi Handschuhe. Is that right? That's about as far as I get with my German. I need to practice. I remember once I took both French and German GCSEs, and I revised for my German on the night of my French test, and I was so stressed out. I actually did all right in the end. I got an A for it, but I was so stressed out. But it was brilliant because by the time I got to do my German test, I revised twice for it, so it was all good. So just let me remind you, just in case whilst there's any questions coming in at all, thanks Robin, that we've got a couple of things coming up. We've got our Strum Like Jake Shimabukuro workshop next week, where we're going to learn While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I might end up doing a full lesson version of this for the Beatles course eventually. I didn't really think about it when I planned it, that it's a Beatles song as well. But join me for that next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. If you can't make it, remember you can always watch the archive. Every single thing I do, whether it be Canacapilla, Melodic Mondays or my fortnightly workshops, they're all archived on a website, and there's hundreds of them. So if you enjoy one in particular and you think, oh, I'd like to look at that a bit more, go and have a look. For instance, you know that up claw hammer style thing we were just talking about that I was doing in this one? There's a whole lesson on it. If you look at Wildwood Flower and Owl Fly Away, there's a search function on my website as well, so you can look them up that way. I go over that specific technique in a lot of detail, so check it out. All archived on my website, mattsteadukulele.com. And if you enjoy the fingerstyle stuff, there's an entire 25-part course on learning that fingerstyle stuff. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Gummi Handschuhe. Yeah, I've got to get used to doing 3 syllables, haven't I? I think I've been saying handshoe, handshoer. Nice, more like a handshoe. Thanks, Robin. Love it, love it. A bit of work to do, John says. That's all right, because you will get it, John. Remember, just go faster, a little bit faster each day, and you will definitely get it. So thanks, John. And John, I will show you up close at the retreat. So yeah, not long to the retreat now. If anyone's coming, I'm really excited about it. Karen's been doing some brilliant work on a songbook for us. So we've got a great songbook, lots of stuff from Canacapilla, but written out with the chords and the lyrics to make it easier as well. So if you are coming to the retreat, I'll be sending that out probably in next week or so. And then I think it's only another week after that, and we've got the retreat. And also I'll be sending out the worksheets and everything. And whatnot as well. So yeah, have a look. And if you've not got tickets, this almost never happens genuinely because it sells out. But because we've had a few returns this year, because we've had a few poorly people, there are some tickets available still. So end of this month, you're going to get taught by me and Pete Luongo, who taught James Hill how to play. Mad, right? And there's also going to be Jeff Peterson, Grammy Award winning guitarist and ukulele player. Sam Muir doing some beautiful classical and some pop stuff as well. And then we've got Victoria Vox. Matt Hicks, Lester T. Webb, who was coming, sadly can't make it. So Victoria Vox has kindly stood into his place, which would be brilliant. Yeah, Leslie, I'll ping you a copy of the retreat songbook. Just remind me, and I'll ping one over. Absolutely. So yeah, I've just got to check it over one more time with Karen first, just to make sure it's all great. So yeah. It's going to be fantastic, isn't it? I cannot wait. And also, we had some other news this week. Some more people added to the lineup for the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain next year. So we've now got the Langley Ukulele Ensemble coming. These are the guys taught by Pete Luongo, the kids from Langley in Canada that travel over to Hawaii to play when they've made it to a certain level. You might have seen the film The Mighty Uke with them in. They're also randomly, very, very briefly in the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Jingle All the Way, believe it or not, which is kind of funny. I was watching it one day with Sharon and we were like, that's Peter Luongo. And I'd never noticed it before. And they're in Jingle All the Way as well. But they're going to be amazing. And Peter's actually going to do some workshops for the whole audience. So we're going to get 900 people. It's going to be bedlam, right? But we're going to get 900 people playing ukulele at the same time. It's going to be so much fun. And we've also added the hedge inspectors. You might know them as Mike Crabbers and Caroline. Brilliant people, amazing players. They'll be joining us. And the boys from Southern Ukulele Store are coming as well. So Alex Beds and the other guys, Ramiro and the lads, they're going to come and they're going to do a whole set on the main stage as well. So loads of stuff going on. Tickets are available for that now. They are flying out fast, so grab some if you can. And that's going to be in Cheltenham next year, 14th to the 16th of August. And the retreat this year is the 29th to the 31st of August. So give us a shout. Yeah, he does, doesn't it? I love Kindergarten Cop. I absolutely love Kindergarten Cop in Johnny. That's like one of my favourite films when I was younger. It's so brilliant. Okay, right, and guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hopefully I'll see some of you on Monday for next Canacapilla. I haven't remembered what we're doing, but it'll be on the website. I can't quite remember what we're doing for that. Oh, hang on, it just came back to me. I know we're doing Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac, and we're doing it's songs that go major to minor, so songs that go from one major key to a minor key. So we're going to be looking at those. So Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac, and I think we've got we've got a George Harrison song. Anyway, have a look on the website; it's all there. Well, take care. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Really enjoyed that. Ciao. I was going to say good night, but I don't know what it is in German. Is that right? Salut. Au revoir. And I'll see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye.